What is up, guys? Back in today with another reaction to another, this time of episode 6. Obviously, very heavy episode last time out in terms of the plot, knowing what's actually going on here. Got a really good idea of what's happening now. I have had a day to think about last episode as well. I'm especially thinking about it from then till today was the fact that it really is an interesting situation because I think they mentioned in every previous kind of year that they didn't have any additional students. I think I might have confused that point. Some of the wording was a little confusing in terms of this kind of extra imposter. I think they were talking about there being the additional student as in this new transfer student. This is the first time this has ever happened, so it's quite interesting as to what they do, because in previous years they could just ignore someone and that would be kind of end of it, but now with a kind of transfer student, they are now ignoring two people, but does that kind of mess with things a little bit? Do they have to ignore two people at all times now? Because they weren't ignoring Koichi before, was that why it was like still ongoing? Also, the interesting point of, because Koichi and Mei are actually acknowledging each other, does that kind of dampen the whole effect? Because everybody's trying to ignore them, but because they are also included in the class, I guess they have been excluded by the majority. But is that how it works? Or is it, like I said, because Mei and Koichi acknowledge each other's existence, does that kind of neutralize the effect of them being neutralized, so no one's being ignored? Because realistically no one is being ignored. Again, lots of thoughts, so I guess we'll see how it does go down this episode. Let me know what you guys think about this one though down in the comment section. Make sure to leave a like on the video if you guys would like, and subscribe to the channel if you do want to be up to date. And let's get right to it. Honestly, at this point, halfway through, I still haven't even uploaded a video, so I've got no idea how this series is going down for you guys so far. Yeah, of course, it was proven that Mei is a real person. I also did notice that this girl just in front of Mei is the only person that voted in favour of not having Koichi ignored, which is interesting. I wonder why because she had a bit of a scary encounter with the whole glass shattering. She was the only person. It said the whole class voted with the countermeasure leader, the red-haired girl. Everybody voted to ignore Koichi with her, and that girl in front of Mei is the only one that chose not to. So I wonder what the reason for that is. Kind of seems like a no-brainer that you'd ignore him. It's like just a smart thing to do, surely. But yeah, like I said, I feel like it should, like Mei and Koichi acknowledge each other should neutralize the effect of the ignoring, but again, maybe it's a majority kind of rules type deal because no one else acknowledges both of them. And maybe, I don't know, maybe it's also like the case of perhaps the dead person, the extra has to ignore them. If it ever ends up being the case that the extra doesn't ignore them and acknowledges their existence, maybe that's the point where it's, I don't know. Obviously, whatever they're doing is not working right now. We haven't seen any deaths since they've started ignoring Koichi though, so we'll see how it goes for them. But yeah, there's a lot of very interesting kind of like facets and such going on, isn't there? It also maybe makes me a little bit questionable of that girl that voted against everybody else. Like, why would she vote against everyone else unless she wanted people to die? Who knows? Well, surely if that's the tell, you could just go around feeding everybody's hands, right? I feel like it wouldn't be that easy. But I was also thinking about there's not really any benefit to finding the dead person, really, is there? Unless everyone starts ignoring them instead of Mei and Koichi. She does have a mother. So I guess I was totally wrong in terms of. I don't think the old lady is a doll. And it seems like May's eye is actually an eyeball and not a. It might still be a prosthetic. I don't know. Might still be a toy eyeball, but that makes that less likely. I feel like I might have been right. I don't know if it was the first episode, might have been the second episode when I said that maybe Koichi is actually dead. I was kind of joke. I was kind of like mostly joking. I brought up what's it called? The movie with Bruce Willis, Sixth Sense. In terms of like I see the I see dead people thing where you actually following Bruce. Again, spoilers here, but you guys, yeah, it's a very old movie. Well, it's not very old, but it's old enough that you guys should have watched it by now. Um, that might be unfair to say, but yeah, go watch it before I spoil it. Very good movie. We see things through Bruce Willis's eyes, and he ends up being a ghost. He ends up being a dead person. We don't find that out till like late in the movie. And I feel like that might be the case for Sakakibara. I was always, I mean, it was evidently set up that Mei was suspicious and very different and weird, and yeah, she was obviously like she very much seemed like a ghost girl. And I always brought up the fact that no one touched her, no one ever touched her, but the only people that have interacted with her, like that makes sense for everybody else. But the only person that's actually interacted with her and acknowledges her is Koichi, and he hasn't touched her. But that goes both ways. Now I look at it with a different kind of context now. She hasn't touched him either. No one's touched Koichi, I don't think. So not that I can remember anyway. He shook the hand of the redhead girl and she said he wasn't cold, but like I said, I feel like like if that was actually the way you discover who it is, the countermeasure team should just easily come up with the conclusion of, well, everyone will hold their hand out and touch everyone's hand, and whoever's hand's the coldest is the dead person. But I feel like that's stupid because one day someone might come in with cold hands because it's cold outside or something. I don't know. I feel like that is not accurate, but yeah, we don't see too many people interact with Koichi on like touching basis. So I feel like again it might be one of those Sixth Sense kind of twists where perhaps the imposter is Koichi because his mother died. I wonder if it's a potential that maybe he died in the womb. Maybe he died alongside his mother. That could be a possibility. Maybe he was never meant to be born, and yeah, now he's like got his chance to live. Perhaps I don't know. But I wouldn't be too surprised if that's the kind of twist. If it is actually Koichi, the person that shouldn't be alive. I don't know. Tell you what I wouldn't like if it's like some random But like, what does she mean when she talks like that? Her mum kind of sees her as like one of those dolls that's downstairs. Yeah, to be honest, if I was the person getting ignored, I wouldn't feel too bad. Like, I would feel bad as a kid, but I'd also be like, I'm kind of helping these people survive. Like, it's worth taking. Hmm. Someone's got to take one for the team, and I think she's a good person to take one for the team. There's kids out there that would struggle without attention. A lot of kids out there. I don't know why they didn't do that initially. So when May said that her cousin died, so that actually like, so was that the curse like affecting her family? But it is a fake eye. Well, honestly, that one doesn't look too great. But they never look perfect. These these fake eyes. I kind of just like. I think people just look a little bit better with an eye patch. Honestly, a lot of times. But like I said, I do like people with two different coloured eyes. I do really like the detail that they put into it. I mentioned this in the initial episode. She showed it. That half of her face does look slightly different because of her eye. It's not just her eye color and the shape and such that's different. It is actually the shape of the eye surrounding it, and it would be different, especially if it's a doll eye. But you see this in real life. I think Michael Bisping's got a fake eye. I've seen a few people with fake eyes, and they're never perfect. But I think that's really cool that you can like customize them and stuff like that. You can like put a different eye in every day if you wanted to. I think that's a really cool kind of thing. Obviously, you can't see out of it, but I think style wise, that's pretty cool. But yeah, that it never looked perfect just because again your eye realizes that your body realizes and your brain realizes there's nothing kind of attached to whatever that part is. Again, I'm no scientist, so I don't know the actual like names for any of this stuff, but yeah, your body kind of realizes, then it kind of like slope down. I mentioned about like the teeth. If you're missing like half of your teeth, your face shape will change. The same with your eye, I imagine. Um, yeah, like I was I got the point I was trying to say. Like I said, it was it's really good detail on her face that they always put a lot of detail on May. To be fair, she's maybe the most kind of detailed drawn character in the show. Got the most kind of quirky bits, I guess. But yeah, I love the fact that it's really subtle as well. But yeah, you won't notice it unless you know. Yep. Just two invisible people going about school business. See, see, where my teenage, if I was a teenager, my brain would go straight to, oh, I'm invisible. What am I gonna do invisible? Touch some boobs, create some mischief, mess with people. They can't acknowledge I'm actually there. Where my brain would go. Sorry. Huh. Wow. So is he actually an outsider? Interesting. I wonder where he was born. What the fuck? What's this now? Is that actually happening? That was what he's daydreaming. Oh, I guess it's kind of similar to what I was talking about. I'm not sure what relevance it has, to be honest. The fact that he's like a citizen is that they're obviously trying to like hide it, so there must be some kind of significance of that. Not sure what though. I mean, his mum was in class 3, so I think this, even though he says he has no ties here, I think it's pretty clear that he does in some way, even without that phone conversation that we just had. He was born from the essence of someone from the class, so. The funny thing with scenes like that, isn't it? When they're like not at their desks, it's almost like they're never really at their desks anyway. They don't exist. No different than being there or not. What's going to change though? Because we can't go the rest of the show about anyone interacting with these two, right? Something's going to come up and change, surely. No one's died, so it's good if nothing does change, seemingly. So I guess I was kind of wrong about the whole kind of acknowledgement thing, because they acknowledge each other. That kind of denies the. Going on here. They're in different classes. So I guess this is an art club rather than a lesson. Well, at least they can talk to some people. I think it's not actually all kind of despair and horribleness, is it? I'm surprised you haven't seen more of this guy. Is it hard to believe that 3 people dying from the same class makes it very believable? Like, again, much more than a coincidence. Anyone surrounding your class. They're not cousins. I don't think they said there, so I'm. That is the question, isn't it? Why does anyone live here and and attend this class with risk of dying? I think as an adult you would feel a responsibility towards trying to keep people safe, though. So this is 1997, is it? That's what my mind is hearing right now. Sorry, guys. The dates. Oh, so that I think they're talking about the additional person here, the person that's not meant to be here. It was confusing because they're talking about a person being in that class who was previously in another class, but obviously it said they can't be in the same class years after. So that person that died from the old class rejoined the class in 1996. So again, I'm assuming it's 1997 right now. Okay, sorry guys. Again, a lot to take in. A lot of important text to take in here. Understandable how this can happen to someone. Kids do demand attention. Just how they are a lot of the time. The adults do that as well. They're glorified kids. Yeah, interesting. You can't go back and check who should be there, who shouldn't be there. Yeah, what happens after the year? Do they just go back to being dead? I assume. Makes sense. Rise is 50-50. That's actually pretty good odds, actually. I would have expected it to be like 30-70 or 20-80. No proof to say that, is there? And it's an interesting case with Koichi, isn't it? It's like, again, it reminds me a little bit of Final Destination 2. It's like, is he a kid that was never meant to be born? Was his mum meant to die? Yet her life was replaced with his. This guy grips in that bag. What the hell? Did. Is he gonna kill himself? Fucking crazy. Yeah, I was the one that kind of said to do this. I did say, what would happen if we were to just kill, kill the people that What did I say? I did say about killing people, but I can't remember who I said to kill and why. To be honest with you, I can't remember. But yeah, either way, my point here is that would killing Koichi and May work? That would certainly erase their existence, literally, rather than pretending. But he kind of feels like he's gonna off himself. And there's a lot of pressure and strain for everybody, isn't there? I'm quite an empath, so I would be horrible trying to ignore someone's existence like this. And it would be hard to be ignored for a whole year. Again, I think I would be able to deal with it if I knew that it would be good for everyone. But I could totally understand as a teenager. If I was a teenager, I probably wouldn't be able to handle it because again, teenagers and stuff, they just like love attention, very attention seeking and such. Yeah, he does it himself. He buckled under the pressure, it seems. Which isn't a kill from the curse. Like, even if that guy does off himself, there still has yet to been someone killed by the curse since they've started ignoring Koichi. So things seem to be working. I did say during the episode though, I feel like at some point something's going to happen where something mucks up or something because still got like 5 or 6 episodes left. Like, you can't just have things be like this forever. As much as I'd like it, I actually quite liked a few of the scenes today with May and Koichi. I thought it's quite cool. Of course, Koichi's not like the most interesting or anything character ever. There's still a lot of mystery about him. I think is why, as just from like the phone call we had earlier, it's like, was he born here? Was he ever here? Obviously, I think his mum would have probably liked for him to be born away from this town and lived away, but it kind of seems like that wasn't the case. Again, no one really knows, so that makes me question even more. Is he? Maybe that's another sign again to say, is he the imposter? Because no one can actually, as a viewer, we can't really be sure. We've been told one thing, we've been told another thing about his backstory. So which one is it? And the person on the phone, I don't know who it was on the phone by the way, but the person on the phone just like tried to seemingly appease him by the end and just like cut out into static and just like, oh yeah, you're right, I'm wrong, don't worry. So that was very odd. Again, maybe another sign of the fact that he's the imposter. But like I said during the episode, it's like, what happens if we even do find this person? Do we just start ignoring them instead? We start ignoring them instead. Will that fix everything? I mean, it doesn't really matter. We could just ignore these two and things will end up being the same, right? Another question, like I mentioned, is what happens to the dead person after the year? Do they just go back to being dead? Do they get to live out a full life? I very much doubt they get to live out a full life. I think, again, I assume they just go back to being dead, right? But yeah, interesting shenanigans with the whole registry, I think it is. Honestly, that I mean, there's obviously supernatural elements in this show, but that is like, I won't say egregious, but it's it's kind of hilarious how the curse seemingly does nothing. Um, but it very much feels Final Destination like it in that regard. It feels very for the narrative kind of purpose that this is the case. It doesn't feel like this is like a natural thing, if that makes sense. Um, it kind of feels natural that there is a curse. It kind of feels natural that there's a dead person, an imposter in the class. What doesn't feel natural is the fact that whatever this curse specifically kind of changes this registry up. I don't know. I feel like things would be a bit too easy to figure out if that didn't happen. That's why I'm saying it's a bit kind of not I can't remember what the word for it is, but it's a bit too kind of good. Like the fact that it kind of messes with this book like that. Again, don't get me wrong, it kind of needs to, otherwise the mystery would just be figured out like that. It'd be very quick and easy. But I don't know, maybe there would be like a better way to do that. I don't really see a better way to do that, but it just feels a bit kind of unbelievable, even in a show where we're seeing supernatural elements like curses and dead people kind of living with normal people, which is quite a normal thing in horror, I find. To be honest with you, again, it might sound ridiculous me saying that, but hopefully you guys do get the point. It was interesting hearing about that though, for sure. And like I said, I did really like all the Mei and Koichi scenes in today's episode. For that was really cool. I did especially like this little fantasy he had during the class with them dancing. They could just do that, to be honest. It'd be really hard to ignore their existence with them doing that. So it's a little bit selfish, but again, if I was a teenager in that class and getting ignored, I probably would do something like that. But yeah, do let me know what you guys thought about this one down in the comments. Leave a like on the video if you guys did enjoy it, and subscribe to the channel if you want to keep up to date. And I'll see you guys next time with episode 7, I believe it is, right?